Hey guys, Mika here, and I'm bringing you an absolutely stunning tenor custom ukulele from Kevin Mason. This has some phenomenal looking koa on this instrument, and this instrument also sounds really awesome. I can't wait to get into the sound sample of this or talking about the tone of this instrument. So, starting right here in the front of the instrument, like I mentioned, really beautiful, gorgeous, big curl, big grain patterns here on this really nice koa. You can see a lot of the dark streaks here that runs through the instrument right here. Of course, you can get a little bit of that sapwood, that white part right here in the middle. And then of course you can see those nice big curls. Almost looks like fire and just very, it's waving out here on the sides, and it all kind of meets right here in the middle, right with the sapwood. And it kind of evens out here on the top, but again, a lot and very busy here on the bottom. Just really gorgeous stuff. And then we look at here at the sides and back, also really awesome koa book match set from the front as well as the back. A little bit of that sapwood here in the middle, but as you can see on this side, you can see more of those curls coming inwards to the center of the instrument. So just again, beautiful stuff. You can see a lot of the orange in the koa, again, a lot of the darker streaks. I just love how wavy it is combined with the um, the curls of the instrument. So just really beautiful stuff. Again, here on the sides, you can see all of the different colors of the koa, as well as this side. And then you can see that we have a side sound port right here for this instrument. And it's paired very nicely with this really nice white maple wood that is binded here on the back of the instrument, as well as the front of the instrument. And then we have a nice little white aesthetic to match with that kind of whitish maple color all around the instrument right here. You can even find that white purfling around the perimeter of the instrument right here, and as well as around the body or the front of the instrument as well. We have figured maple here around this rosette, which is around the sound hole, paired really nicely with this gold mother of pearl that also wraps around the inside of the rosette. You can even see some more of that gold mother of pearl here on the fretboard itself on your typical fret markers, 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, 15, 17, and even 19. Don't really play that high on the fretboard, but if you want to, you got them fret marker dots down there. And then we have a little cool design to indicate the all-important 12th fret where you can make your harmonics on the instrument, so nice and easy to spot. And if you folks want, you also have the side fret markers on the side of the fretboard or on the neck as well. So very beautiful front, sides and back, really nice. I really love the aesthetic, that just the koa aesthetic matched with the white binding of the maple. Just really beautiful stuff. Ebony bridge, fretboard, beautiful slotted headstock with the curly koa, nice tight grain pattern. You can see all the curls going running back and forth, but it's stacked like books. It's like a bookshelf pretty much, or just stacks of books right here on the headstock. Really nice stuff. And then also aesthetically really pleasing with the Rubner golden block tuners right here on both sides of the instrument. So really easy to use, really very smooth, very accurate. Rubner tuners are very great to have on instruments. And then you can have a satin finished neck, mahogany neck here on the back of the instrument, and right here a little koa slab on the heel of the instrument. More of that maple binding, as you can see right here, again around the body. You can also see it on the perimeter of the fretboard. Kind of small or a little hard to see maybe on the camera, but I promise there's a nice little perimeter wrapped around here on the fretboard, as well as more of that white purfling, white and black purfling that wraps around the headstock on the top, and it wraps all the way around. And then even on the inside of the slotted headstock, right there, you can see that black and white kind of purfling right there. So amazing instrument, beautiful. It feels, it has a good weight to it. Just feels really nice to hold in my hands. A little more specifics on the neck shape. I love that the neck is more like in the middle in terms of it's definitely not chunky. It's definitely not on the bigger side. I would say it's more towards the middle of the traditional size necks versus maybe a little bit skinnier. So for me personally, I prefer this, having the skinnier necks. It feels better with how I like to hold instruments. But again, it's very just different on your preferences depending on, if you have meatier hands, maybe you want to grab more of that neck, look for a chunkier neck. If you like skinnier necks because you like less to hold or it's easier to hold bar chords, then you look for something with a skinnier neck. So this is kind of right in the middle, slightly leaning towards the side where it's a little on the smaller side. And then another important thing to note is that this is a 1.5-inch nut. So if you take a ruler and you measure one side to the other side, we have a 1.5-inch nut spacing. That's slightly larger than usual. The traditional size is about 1.38 inches, 1.35 inches. So for those of you who have, say, bigger hands or very long fingers, it can be very beneficial to get the slightly wider 1.5-inch nut that this instrument has, so that you have a little more string spacing, you have a little more room to, if you're playing more complicated chords. So this ukulele has that. And the very last thing I wanted to mention before we get into the sound is that this instrument has a radius fretboard. So, for me, I prefer a radius fretboard. It's all based on what you like. If you like the flat fretboard or the radius fretboard, it all just depends on preference. But with the radius fretboard, I noticed that, when I make a bar chord like this, because the fretboard has a slight curvature, I don't need to make it completely flat. I can actually kind of like have a slight little bend in my bar chord because the radius fretboard allows for my finger to do that. So for me, it just feels a lot more natural, and I think it does make a difference whenever I'm holding like bar chords or just any other of these kind of chords. I do prefer that radius fretboard. So this instrument does have that. So after all of that, going into the sound, this instrument exudes the characteristics of koa. You just have this nice, sweet, warm, but just really lush, just very lush, sweet sound. But because of the low G, you have more of that oomph on the bottom, more bottom end. But I just love the sound and the characteristics of koa. Koa can vary in density from being, pretty dense, like maybe like walnut, maybe even pushing rosewood. That's kind of a stretch, but it can be really light. Can be on the lighter side too. So at koa, there's a lot of variance, but for the most part, when I play koa, I usually hear a nice mid-range, a lot of resonance, a lot of sweetness, a lot of warmth. This one has a lot of clarity, very clear on each single notes, even on the upper frets. It almost sounds like it's bell-like, very clean, very clean. The sustain is really nice. So, when you pluck a note on the A string, it doesn't just fall off a cliff. It has a nice, think of like, you say you run off a cliff and you have a parachute, you're like, ooh, you're kind of slowly going down. That's what this instrument has, just a nice natural decay to the sound. And I want to bring your folks' attention to this chord. This is a kind of funky way of holding a C major chord, but I'm holding the 9th fret with my middle finger on the G string. I have an open C string. I have my index finger on the 8th fret E string, and then I have my ring finger on the 10th fret A string. When you play this chord on this instrument, it sounds like a bell. It's just so pure, so like that all the strings just sit and mesh really well together. They all work in harmony with one another, and just such a clean sound. Especially that A string. It has that nice bell-like sound, so very clean. And for me as a fingerstyle player, I really want to make sure that A string comes through a lot, because if you're playing your melody on that bottom A string, you want to make sure that sings very nicely, and this instrument definitely does that. But again, when you pair it with this low G in the top 2 strings, you get just a nice overall rounded kind of sound. Again, slightly skewed on the brighter side, but that's that's characteristic of koa. But again, you have a lot of that sweetness, that nice resonance. Just very warm and very inviting. But you have that nice brightness too with the koa. And when I'm playing this instrument too, I can feel the sound vibrations against my body, because I'm holding the instrument against my body, so I can feel like when I hit this F chord, I can feel it vibrate against my body. So there's a lot of sound going into this instrument, reverberating and sending it out right here through this sound hole. So really just excellent stuff. I mean, especially for me as a fingerstyle player, this is definitely like my kind of uke. Like literally bells or harmonics, just super clean, just really beautiful stuff. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate this ukulele with a sound sample, do some finger style, and then I'll go ahead and strum so you can hear what this sounds like with the strumming, or strumming on this instrument. So here we go. We'll see where this instrument takes me. Well, that was a that sounded really nice. Actually, I love how this instrument just kind of took me in all around these beautiful chords and trying to go up the fretboard just to show you how it sounds really sweet up here. But man, there's just such a nice, sweet resonance here, especially in that bottom three frets going around the F and A minor, F7, D7, all these, all of these chords. So yeah, just really pleasing, very soothing. I feel like I'm getting lost in my own little world playing this instrument. Really nice stuff. The setup on this feels really nice too. It's like set up really well in terms of it's not high at all, but it's not too low or you're buzzing at all. It's kind of set up right in the middle, so you don't have to press as hard to hold these complicated chords. It's pretty much ready to go, ready to play, ready to gig with, whatever you want to do with it. Go in the studio with this. It'll get the job done really well. So this is what this ukulele will sound like with a little bit of strumming.